I am not someone who is out here running a hate campaign against Blake Lively. That's her job. She's doing that on her own. I'm just talking about what she's doing.
Hi and welcome to Blossom Talk. I'm Kjersti, Flaa, and here on my channel I talk about my good and bad experiences in Hollywood and working as an entertainment reporter. First of all, thank you guys so much for all your support. You're amazing. I find it every time I post a new video, I'm super excited to see your reactions. And yeah, I try to read all the comments. It's not always that I manage to do that, but I really appreciate it. And please check if you've been unsubscribed, if you have been subscribed before, because that has happened to a lot of people lately. And if you haven't, of course, that would be amazing if you do, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Blossom Talk, because there's stuff going on with the algorithms now that a lot of people don't see my videos anymore. So there are things at work here. I'm not going to get more into that. What I wanted to talk about in this episode is the Glamour article that was published on Friday by a woman called Stephanie McNeil. She attacked female creators basically for talking about this and saying that we have an agenda, and that's basically to trick all of you people to believing that Blake Lively is a liar when they think she's not.
There's one really big misconception on the internet right now that I feel like I have to clear up about the difference between journalists who work for corporate media like I do and citizen journalists or content creators who cover pop culture on here. And that is who is actually making money off of these really big drama events that get blown up on TikTok, like the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni thing.
And they also accusing us of making money for doing so, like she's not making money for being a journalist. And she works for Glamour magazine. What does Glamour magazine stand for in the first place? I worked for women's magazines before. I know women's magazines are basically supported by brands who's paying their bills, and they're trying to trick women into buying products. And for this journalist, Stephanie, to say that she doesn't have an agenda because she is a journalist that works for a women's magazine, no, you do have an agenda. I'm sorry to break it to you. But anyways, I wanted to bring Donna on here today, one of my fellow creators out there. She's also worked in this industry for so many years. She has a lot of credibility in the industry, and she has been reporting on this drama for a long time as well. One of Donna's videos was actually referred to in the article, as well as she mentioned Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly, which we all know are far-right figures. And they're trying to make all of us in the same political landscape here, saying that also if you don't believe Blake Lively, you are far-right. I think the way that they're looking at us as women is so sexist. I actually got an email from someone this morning saying that she was one of the feminists, the original feminists from the 50s and 60s when, you know, the women were burning their bras. And she said that the way that these women are attacking other female creators now, or other women in general who don't believe Blake Lively, is saying that we are not able to be critical thinkers ourselves. And she said that's exactly the argument that men used back in the 50s and 60s when women were asking for equal rights. I thought that really put things into perspective here. Anyways, here's Donna Bowling from Daily Dose of Donna.
Hi, Donna. Thank you so much for joining me on a Sunday. I watched your Instagram rant. Can we say it was a rant yesterday? And I was just like, oh my God, I have to talk to you again, because what's happening right now is fuming me. Oh, so there was a story in Glamour magazine that a lot of people have read, and they're basically calling all of us women, especially women. So they're calling all women who are reporting on Blake Lively for, what could we say, women haters, misogynist, Trump lovers. Yeah, what else?
I mean, think of a bad word. Put it in there. It's something, anything negative, just give it to us. They're categorizing all of us as negative, angry mommy sleuths.
And mommy sleuths, what's really, really annoyed you as well, as I heard from your commentary yesterday. Why was that something that triggered you specifically?
Well, I'll tell you. So Friday night, I saw someone post quickly about this article, and I didn't even pay it any mind because Glamour, I actually had to unfollow Glamour. I can't believe I was even following it because Glamour magazine, like, truthfully, I don't remember the last time I actually read Glamour. I don't even know that people actually read Glamour magazine. But a lot of these magazines, just between us and I guess all of your audience, they just don't.
I used to work for one. Yeah.
No, really?
Yeah. So I know.
Like
Yeah.
a women's magazine like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
But not Glamour.
No.
Okay. So Glamour magazine specifically, I just remember unfollowing them a few months ago because they post very inflammatory content, to be honest. Like I remember it being, I don't remember what post of theirs felt very, it is a very biased magazine in the vein of, you know, speaking for women, but it is very opinionated. It's not like a all women loving magazine because they are a very biased publication. And I remember feeling like this is kind of yucky at the time. I can't remember specifically what it was about. And I didn't love it. So this post came across my Instagram. Someone had shared it with me on a DM, but I was watching a movie with my family. I was being a mommy, right? I was watching 13 Going on 30, which is actually about Jennifer Garner at a magazine. She's at Poise in the movie. And so it was kind of a funny little moment. I didn't really read the article at the moment. I kind of skimmed and I was like, this is weird because I saw Candace Owens being mentioned, Megyn Kelly. And I'm like, here we go. Here we go. I saw the word MAGA. Okay. But then Saturday morning in my robe, drinking my coffee, I read it and I just got more and more stressed out as I was reading it. And then I saw that they actually tagged one of my TikToks in the article as an example of the hate that Blake Lively gets. And that's when I said, what the hell? Like, I am not someone who is out here running a hate campaign against Blake Lively. That's her job. She's doing that on her own. I'm just talking about what she's doing.
That whole article, first of all, I'm wondering, you know, what is their agenda here? Because from everyone that's contacted me, emails, or like left comments on my YouTube channel, there's so many women who say, you know, I've been a victim myself, and that's why this makes me so angry. Or women who really fought, you know, for women's rights back in the 50s and 60s, and, you know, the ones that burned their bras, like, let's have equal rights there. These are the women that are most upset about this. And so I feel like when she's saying that we're not feminist, or we are not real women supporting women because we don't believe another woman, I started thinking, you know, what if this Stephanie, what if her husband, I think she's married, what if he was accused by someone at his workplace for making someone very uncomfortable? Would she just blindly believe that woman without any evidence? And she made a public claim about him, so he probably would lose his job. Mm-hmm. Would she be like, yeah, I believe that woman. I don't believe my own husband or my brother or my son. I just believe this woman because she is a woman.
I think a lot of, no, it's nuts. I think a lot of people speak very easily when it's not their own life being in question or their own loved ones in question. I see this a lot when people speak about just even parenting. Like I remember before I had kids, I would judge parents for letting their kids, you know, use iPads at the dinner table when they were young. And then of course, when my kids were 4 or 5 years old and throwing food instead of eating, or, you know, crying or screaming, I'd be like, take the iPad just so I can eat my sushi in peace for 20 minutes. You do a lot of things when it's not your own life. And I think actually Justin Baldoni made a big mistake when he did his TED Talk and said, are you going to believe women even when the claim is against you? Because he didn't ever think that he was going to actually get a claim like this against him. He never, because he knew he's not that kind of guy. And he never thought he was going to run in across a Blake Lively of his own. This is the kind of thing that happens to people. This is the thing that you never think will happen to you until it happens to you. And Stephanie McNeil is putting herself out there like, what is this crazy group of women that is just going after Blake? Why do they hate women so much? Now, the word mommy sleuth, since she mentioned this in a comment in the Glamour magazine Instagram, she goes, I didn't coin this word. That's Candace. Candace Owens coined this word, not me. And apparently Candace does do this. I don't know this, but someone did say that Candace calls her audience mommy sleuths. I don't know this, but I guess she did. But there's a reason Stephanie used that in her title, and she knew that she was using this in her title. Oh, yeah, she said it in the comment. That's why I use quotes around it. It's not my term. It's Candace's. She did that to trigger people. She did that to instigate people. She did that to piss people off. It was a rage baiting headline, and she knew that. There's no other reason, right?
No, and I feel like you're such a good example of, because you've been very open that you believe Blake when you read that article. So it's not like you were saying like, hey, I didn't believe her as a woman. You believed her and you were open about, I believed everything. But then when you didn't see all the evidence or you saw the other side's evidence, you changed your mind. So is that what they're asking us to do? Not look at any of the other evidence from the other side here, because they just want us to believe her no matter how little she can prove what she claims happened to her?
I think a lot of people are starting to jump on this. Is it too much? Are we bullying now? I noticed Bethany Frankel posted a video the other day saying, okay, it's feeling like systematic bullying now after her Another Simple Favor premiere. And then, of course, this article comes out. And I do think that that's going to be like the new narrative. This is too much. It's too much. It's too much. The only thing that I can say to that is, and I'm very careful with my content, because there are people that do actually, I feel like, take it too far and just post to be mean to her and just to take her down. I don't feel like everyone does that. I feel like some people are posting just updates on what's happening, on true things that are happening, things she is currently saying, things that she is actually doing, things that are happening in the news, things that are, words she is saying on stage at the panel, or that her director is saying, updates in the court, etc. That stuff is not bullying. That is literally just posting updates and current things. SNL, her and Ryan going to the premiere or the 50th anniversary and speaking in the audience, making a joke of it. How can that be bullying? We're reporting pop culture news. If Entertainment Weekly can talk about it, if E! News can talk about it, if Glamour magazine probably talked about it as well, how can we not talk about it? It's the same, and it should be treated as the same. What's interesting is that another content creator without a crystal ball, right after this whole post came out, said, hey, she actually posted about It Ends With Us, Stephanie McNeil, right after the movie came out or during the week that the movie came out. And she posted an entire article saying, what is going on with this marketing? Why is Blake getting it so wrong? Stephanie McNeil called Blake out. So I guess she is also a quote unquote bully.
Well, that's the thing. There was another article in The Cut. I don't remember the name of the reporter now, but she did the same to me. The article was titled, "When is Kjersti Flaa going to stop talk about Blake Lively?" And then I found out that she had written already 5 or 6 articles about Blake Lively herself. And I'm like, these women are just attacking regular women on their same level. We are questioning people in power, while they're attacking all women who actually believe in facts and believe in evidence. And I think what they're doing is bullying. I felt bullied so many times for talking about this. I have almost like stalkers out there trying to tear me down because I talk about it. And those women call themselves feminists and that they support other women. It's just like, it's so insane to me.
Well, what's crazy is it's a circle. It's like a cycle, a vicious cycle, because you and I, you more than me, because you have a huge audience and you've been speaking about this. You had that viral video. I noticed this about you and me and a lot of other creators that are speaking about this. There's a lot of people on Reddit and on Threads and Twitter maybe who are vehemently against us, who are speaking loudly that we are taking advantage of this, who are angry with us and are speaking so consistently about when are they going to stop talking about them? When are they going to stop, using them for content and attacking us over and over and over? They're taking advantage of Blake. They're, milking this for what it's worth, what it's worth, but they are constantly talking about us on their platforms. Like, I have full on snark threads about us, about me, and you do as well. So what's the difference? You're obsessing over us. We're talking about a celebrity and a huge celebrity pop culture event. Like, let's be real. This is someone that's being talked about on Glamour magazine. I mean, we're not talking about some random chick on the side of the corner or whatever. So if you're talking about us, talking about them, what's the difference here? It's all because it's interesting. And I always like to point out, I'm not necessarily talking about Blake Lively even, or Justin Baldoni, right? And I don't think you are either. We're talking about celebrity. We're talking about Hollywood. And we're talking about justice and truth and PR and the machine. And like, I think it's like the bigger spin of it all rather than just these two people. These two people are just kind of like, they're part of it, but it's a bigger thing. And that's why so many people that don't give a shit about celebrity culture are interested.
I totally agree with you. And the thing is, I meet so many people in the industry. I mean, we live here in this town, so I meet so many people. And, I haven't met anyone that's pro Blake yet. People that work here, they're very like, okay, she is ruining it for so many people, what she's been doing right now. And the fact is that now that, all these talk shows and, people in the media started to make fun of this situation means that people in general don't believe her. And one of my neighbors here, she's an editor, and she's like, everyone's so afraid now because, if you can get sued for these things on a movie set that you make someone feel uncomfortable, it's going to be so terrifying to hire women in movies because of this.
No, men should be afraid. This sets a very, very scary precedent. Like, truthfully, men should be afraid. And I said that after Me Too. And I remember having a conversation with my husband then at the time, because he is a cameraman and he sets up for interviews a lot for reality stars. And so a lot of times he'll be alone with the talent, just like setting up the lighting and the cameras. And you know how this is, like when you're doing your press junkets or whatever. And he would say, like, I never want to be alone with the talent, even for 5 minutes, because you never know. Like, you don't want to ever be alone. It's like when you're working with a male doctor, they always have to bring in a female nurse at this point. Like when I'm with my dermatologist, who's a man and has to look at my body, they bring in a female nurse now. It's like,
Wow.
I mean, that's at least in my office, that's how it works, because they have to look at my body fully naked and they're a doctor. So it sets a very, very uncomfortable and unfortunate precedent for any man now. And it should, because if I were a man and I was a director, especially a young director or a first-time director or someone that doesn't have like, a lot of control in Hollywood, like a Justin Baldoni, and I was green and I was starting fresh or whatever, I would be very nervous. And it almost makes you not want to hire someone that is A-list. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe I should start with someone that doesn't have a lot of, control in this industry.
Of course. Yeah, no, I think also, some of these women have said that, okay, maybe because Blake Lively hasn't been treating people the right way throughout her career, and there's come out all these rumors about how she's been mean to people on set. I think I've spoken to about 15 people who told me horror stories that Blake Lively either made them cry or she made them want to quit the industry. And I'm thinking, from what she claims that happened to her with Baldoni, is that worse, even if it was true, than bullying people into the fact that they leave their job, they leave the industry, they go home crying, they're traumatized for a long time afterwards? Is that any better? Isn't that the same? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. And I keep just trying to remember that this comes down to this harassment that we still haven't like figured out exactly what it is. And that really is where it comes down to. None of it really tracks for me. I'm so confused by it all. I almost wish, and I was talking to my husband about this last night. I said, if she just would have come after him for the smear campaign or for the social manipulation or the Jed Wallace of it all, like that part, I think it could have been okay. Like she wouldn't have gotten this kind of wrath against her from the world or from a lot of these women out here. I think this putting the word harassment, even if she said a workplace environment that was toxic, it wouldn't have triggered so many emotions from people. Putting the words on anything created this kind of divide in the audience. And that's because so many women, it ignites such a personal feeling for so many. It makes them feel like whether or not they've experienced it themselves or something, now they're questioning her. And then for any man, it's such a stain on them. And was there an actual case of this? Like all of it is just so messy once you say that word. When I did Billy Bush's show last week, he said, the second you put that word on it, it's over. Like that is such a big word. I just don't know where, like what made her use that word. Uncomfortable is one thing. Harassment is.
Yeah. No, I know. And the thing is, I remember when I read that article because I was in it and I was, they basically made up this story about me that wasn't true. I felt instantly, I was like, I don't know if I believe this. And I felt terrible for having questions about it because, you know, when they put out a story about you that you know is not true, I was questioning, you know, what else isn't true here? And I felt so bad for having those questions. And I didn't dare to come out and talk about them because I was like, I'm going to get so much hate for not believing everything blindly here. And if I would have believed everything blindly, I would have believed that I had something to do with it, which is like the situation that they put Baldoni in, and they're using his own words against him, saying like, oh, you should believe another woman because that's what you're saying, that you should believe women. And then you don't believe Blake. And it's like, it's the same as saying to me, you don't believe that you were paid to do that. It's like, no, I don't believe that because
That's
I know
so
I wasn't.
interesting.
It's like,
That's so interesting because you were in it. So you're like, if I believe Blake's claims, that means I have to believe everything in this article, which means that I have to believe that I was part of this hate campaign or I was part of this smear campaign, which I know I wasn't. So like, I can't believe everything because once you know that there's one lie in here, then you know there's many.
Yeah.
Which is why which is what happened to me. When I saw that complaint, I believed it because my gut feeling, my go-to feeling has always been to believe when someone says a claim like that. And I was really, and I said this probably on the last time I was here, I don't even remember, Zach Peter, who covers this, and I are very close, and he questioned it like you, and I didn't talk to him for almost 2 weeks for the first time in over a year, and it was devastating. Like I almost stopped being his friend because I felt so grossed out by him. I'm like, you're such a man. You don't believe women that say harassment? What kind of a man are you? I was literally like Stephanie McNeil or Taylor Lorenz, right? And so I was so sick by him. But then when he came out with his lawsuit and showed the evidence, I noticed when you have one lie, 2 lies, 3 lies, then how many lies could there be?
Yeah.
And that's what you start to notice. So I wish Stephanie, to me, it looked like, did she even read the documents? Is she open to reading the documents? Has she only been in a bubble of like just pro Blake algorithm? I don't know.
Yeah. And the fact is just she's questioning us for questioning Blake hiring a CIA guy, which she also does in this article. It's like, well, of course we're questioning, why does she need a CIA guy? What is he going to do for her? I mean, it's just like we're
like that's just
her.
Such a normal thing to do.
Exactly. And I was thinking, you know, I've been watching so many of these TV shows. I don't know if you've seen Apple Cider Vinegar, a new Netflix show about
I watched part of it.
Australian girl who fooled everyone to believing she had cancer to be successful in her business. You know, there's so many women who have done horrific things, you know, that came into power even Elizabeth Holmes, another example, or Anna Surko, Anna Delvey, the one who
Yeah.
fooled them. There's so many women out there that are
W-
opportunists and that are lying their way to the
mhm.
top. And for us other women, are we never supposed to question these women?
Well,
Is
and I
that
just
the end game here? Like,
exactly. And I just watched Anatomy of a Scandal recently, that Grey's Anatomy writer, that documentary. I'm in the middle of watching the Ruby Frankie documentary about that YouTube vlogger, family woman who abused her children. And she's literally, this is the funniest thing I told my husband. I was like, you better be happy that I don't do this, where she's like, I'm recording. Okay. I'm recording, like yelling at her kids. But this is literally how some women that we see this like perfect person on camera, and then they are different people when they are not behind the scenes. Blake Lively was just this unearthed article for Marie Claire from years ago, and she was also on Regis and Kelly, or Kelly Ripa and someone who I don't remember who her co-host was, saying that her mom enrolled her in first grade at 3 years old.
I saw that.
So I don't know if she's lying or her mom lied about this, but someone perpetuated that lie, because that is a lie, because no one ever can start kindergarten without showing ID, some sort of birth certificate. She grew up here in Los Angeles. So did I. My mom 100% had to show proof of birth in the 80s when I started school. She's younger than me even. Like, what is going on there? Who's lying in that family? Who's starting the lie? Did the mom lie to Blake and she just believed it? Or did Blake start that lie? There's something going on there, but clearly there's a pattern of lies in that family.
Yeah, and I think sometimes for people who are pathological liars, they believe their own lies. They create this reality for themselves, and that's the way they view life and reality. Is like, but that's my reality, and they create this world for themselves that they live in, and they believe it. And I think, you know what? I think that Blake Lively probably doesn't think that she's done anything wrong, and she believes everything she says.
That's the scariest part, is like, what do Ryan and Blake? Well, we could really just talk about Blake, but I think Ryan and her are like birds of a feather, right? So I always think about, are they sitting at home reading this Glamour article and thinking to themselves, like, she sees us, like she sees
Of
us,
course.
and they're thinking like, it really is a hate campaign. These mommy sleuths hate us, and we have done not one thing to create this. Like, we are innocent victims of this hate campaign fueled by MAGA.
Yeah. And then they call Nick Shapiro. They're like, thank you, Nick. I love the Glamour
Thanks,
article.
babe.
Anyways, Donna, it was so nice to have you here. Now we're going to go jump on your channel too and continue this conversation over at Daily Dose of Donna. I watch
Yay.
you every day as well. If you don't watch Donna, start doing it now. She's got so much tea and credibility as well.
Oh, thank you.
You have worked in this industry and you know what you're talking about. And yeah, amazing. Thank you, Donna. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you stopping by my channel, and for all your support and for all your tips you're sending me, and for emails, for the support, for the stories you're sharing with me. I have to say that every day I wake up, I really look forward to reading new emails and messages from you guys. So thank you, thank you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.